Hey everybody, Marshall here, Budget Guy RC, back for another Tuesday RC talk or Tuesday whatever talk. Hope everybody's doing all right tonight. Uh, for those that join in, you will see that I went back to the old, just coming straight onto YouTube and uploading it because the StreamYard just seemed to, I don't know, just seemed like it wasn't doing quite as well. And I didn't really have anybody coming on that wanted to do any per se. Just put their mic on and come on and speak like that. What's up, brother? Hope you're doing all right, man. I went back to my original way of doing it for right now until I get maybe a bigger audience. And then I might go back to that other one. But nobody wasn't getting on the chat and wanting to use their mic and use their camera and do the talk that way anyway. So I figured, why not just go back to the YouTube one? It's a little bit easier to upload and get on here and just start doing it than the StreamYard is. You got a few more steps you got to do on the StreamYard. So I figured I'd just go back to this for now. Now, if I start getting more than 30 or 40 people, while I'm live, then yeah, I may switch it up and have like where 3 or 4 people can have mics and cameras and be able to split screen it so different people can talk and everybody can see who's talking and what they got to say. You can hear it. But ready for Christmas, brother? I have to wait. He has a little bit of a lag. His internet connection is his cell phone. And sometimes he has a little bit of a lag, so I have to wait and see if he's going to say something about it. And it says, shows he said, "What's up, brother?" And then it showed he disappeared. So don't know if he'll pop back on or not. Now, just a little recap over my other shows. We've come on here. We've talked about RCs. We talked about what we would like to see, like Arrma come out with. Arrma just keeps coming out with bigger size Cratons or whatever. And we were talking about, we'd like to see them come out with a trail truck. They still ain't done that one. We talked about fishing, different types of bait. We've talked about rod holders, kayak setups for fishing. We've talked about what kind of cars we've had and what kind of cars we really liked, like, classic, like muscle cars on the show. We've talked about different rod and reels we like using, different type baits we like using, whether it be artificial, reel, whatever, and different type fish we like fishing for. And we've also, like I said, talked about RC, and we talked about gaming, different type games you might be playing at the time, stuff like that. So that way everybody else can hear what you're playing, see what your thoughts are on it, and then they can go check it out if they want to. I mean, this ain't no big talk channel like some of the other ones are, but by having this talk, wishing I was fishing, which is a friend of mine from where I used to live, he got to meet the pickerel hunter, which is another fishing guy. He got to meet up with here on my channel, and now he can go watch his fishing videos. But the guy also is called Shin RC and has an RC channel, and I know him from his pickerel hunter fishing channel and his RC channel, which is Shin RC. So wishing I was fishing 73, got to go over there and start checking out his fishing channel. So It's a way people can meet each other and maybe learn about a channel they didn't know about. Because YouTube's kind of weird on their algorithm sometimes about what you type in, what it'll take you to. I mean, I've typed in certain things and I'd be like, why did it take me there? And it would be a video that had nothing really to do about what I wanted. Like I typed one about hobby. They had hobby in the word. And it's showing like little board games that we used to play when we were kids. And I'm going, scratching my head like, that doesn't generally fall under hobby. You know, hobbies are generally like gaming, fishing, hunting, swimming, boating, mountain bike riding, taking your ATV out and riding it in the woods, motorcycle riding, stuff like that. Different things like that are considered more of a hobby. RCing, things like that I consider hobby stuff. But this channel's for, a little bit of everything. I've talked to different people. I've talked to guys that do gaming, and they'll mention a game to me and ask me if I played it. And I may not even have known about it. And then I'll go glance and see if it's at a good price that I can afford it. Because I'm still a budget guy, whether it's RC, whether it's gaming, no matter what it is, it's budget. So I check out different things, see what I find, check it out, and if I like it, somebody comes on here and asks me, have I played so-and-so? I'll be like, oh, yeah, I played that. That was pretty cool. No. And I'll just give my opinion on it. But I'm going to ask you again because it shows me I got one person in the room. Is everybody ready for Christmas? Or are they dreading it? Because, it ain't that far away. So we might as well be ready for it whether we are or we ain't, And also I do these videos so that way when I mention something, yeah, you might get a little bit of help from it. Like if I say, yeah, I tried so-and-so game, it sucked, I wouldn't recommend that one. Or I tried this game, it was awesome. Well, you might go, well, shoot, I never played that. Let me go give it a try. Or if I got a quad and I go, oh man, I loved it for in the house. I wouldn't take it outside because it can't really handle any wind, but I love it for in the house. Well, then you might be like, well, shoot, I got a lot of room in the house. I can get that little quad and fly it around here and have some fun. Like last week, I brought out an RC of mine that wouldn't go. It won't move. Steering goes left and right, but the truck don't move forward or backwards. And we were trying to figure out what was wrong with it. And we weren't sure whether it's the little outrunner, in-runner, whatever you want to call it, little brushless motor it's got with it, which looks to be like a 380 size motor, or whether it was maybe the ESC, or whether maybe the radio, the trigger went bad. So to touch base back on that again, it's a Feiyu. It's their 6x6, like rock racer buggy style thing. And I decided just to try something, just to see if it was this radio or not. I took and brought out one of my other RCs, and then I hooked the servo in the ESC from that RC, put a battery in that RC, and hooked it up to to the receiver that goes with this. Turned it on, had steering. I'm like, well, I had that already with the other one. Well, then I gave it throttle, and the RC went, when I gave it throttle forward, the RC went backwards. When I gave it throttle backwards, it went forward. So that tells me at least it's working, and all I would have to do is just swap the motor. For a brush motor, I would just swap those wires around. Since this one doesn't have a reverse button, you can't do throttle reverse on here. So what I would do is just swap those brush motor wires around, and when I hit forward, then it would go forward instead of going reverse. Sometimes you have to do that. But now I know that the radio and the receiver are working. that I can just put. Here it is. This is the rig we're talking about. This was from last week. Now I know it's either the motor or the ESC that's going on this. So what I'm going to most likely do, because it's got a small, the motor's probably, I don't know, like that. Like I said, looks like about a 370, 380, 390 size motor. So I went online and found a 390 motor that goes into the ECX Barrage 2, the Gen 2 one. It's a 390 motor. That comes with the pinion, my bad. Comes with the pinion with it and the grub screw to hold it on. I want to get that down the road. And then I'm going to get me like a 1040 crawler style ESC. Or 1040, 1060, 1080, whichever one it is. The little cheap one that's only about 18 bucks. I'm going to grab that one. I'm going to put that in there. And then I may leave it set up more towards a rock racer, or I may lock the diffs and try to make it more of a crawler. Well, it depends on, see, a lot of times it has to do with the motor mount. The motor mount that comes in that little car looks like it's set up to run a 390 size motor. Now I can change that motor from brushless, which is what it is now, and just go with a brushed motor and make it slower and give it more torque so I can crawl with it over rocks and stuff like that better. But generally, you would have to change the motor mount if you wanted to try to fit a bigger motor. It runs, I think it runs a 390 style brushless motor. And I'm probably just going to put a 390 brushed one in there. But I don't think a 540 would fit in there. And the reason I say that, all right, that's about the size of a normal 540 motor. This is like a 12-turn Traxxas slash 540 motor. It's something about like that. A little brushed motor. And you see how round that is. Now, this is the little bitty motor that's in this thing. And I just don't think this big whopper, so it just doesn't have the clearance for a 540. Bull Gear RC videos, what's up, bro? But see, I just don't think a 540 can is gonna fit in there. As you can see, this thing is a 540 size, and it just doesn't look to have the clearance for that. But there is a 1/12 scale car that runs a 390 brush motor, which is called an ECX Barrage Gen 2. It runs a 390 brush motor. You can get the motor for about 15 bucks, roughly. And it comes with a pinion and the grub screw to hold the pinion on. And all I'd have to do is take that motor off, mount the other motor up on there, get the gear mesh set so it's not too tight but not too loose, and then swap out that ESC that's in there, that brushless ESC, with like an $18 crawler ESC. And then boom, slap a battery in it, and she should be going back, running down the road. Of course, I'll have to put the rear drive shaft back in it and everything. I have the rear drive shaft out of it while I was messing with it. I'd have to put that drive shaft and everything back in it to make it 6-wheel drive again. But that's nothing. And I've got some of the body panels up here on my desk up here while I've got it tore down looking at it. But I can put all that stuff back on it. But yeah, sometimes you can upgrade the motor size. Sometimes. Like some people run 540s size motors. Some people run a 550, which is a little bit longer can. Like say a 540 might be like this. 550 may be like that. Thinking about putting a 370 in the SEX 24. I've heard some people doing it with the 1/16. You know, like those the Banggood specials, like the military 6x6 trucks and stuff like that. I've heard people going and slapping a 370 in them, or either they run like dual motors and run like two of the 180s in there. But I hadn't heard of anybody running a 370 in a SEX 24 yet. So that you would definitely be doing something that nobody else has done so far. And like you said, you like doing things a little bit different. And since you're just getting here, what I was talking to them about earlier, I did manage to test the radio and receiver and make sure that it wasn't the radio, the throttle was still working. So the radio and receiver do still work. I was able to test that. I took my Red Cat Everest 10. Oh, it's been done? I haven't seen it. I just haven't looked at the video where somebody's put a 370 in one. But yeah, I took my Red Cat Everest 10, brought it out, and plugged the ESC and the servo into this radio's receiver, and then turned it on and did this, had steering, and gave it throttle, and it moved forwards and backwards and everything. So I'm like, okay, I know it's not the radio gear. So it means it's either that brushless motor or that brushless ESC that's gone. And I got to looking and found a reset button on there. Pressed the reset button, held it down, turned the radio on. Couldn't get nothing. So I'm thinking the ESC just fried. Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. But I really don't want to buy another ESC like that. There's a motor adapter on Shapeways. That thing should be a beast with that size motor. I mean, they already crawl good. The SEX 24 already crawls good. And then you slap a 370. That thing ought to be a pure beast then. I know I've been hearing people talk about they've been using different type motor adapters and stuff like that, and changing out the gearboxes in those 1/16 scales, so that way they can change and put bigger motors in them. Because a lot of times they'll come with such tiny motors, and they just don't give it nothing. Don't give it no oof. Because you know, if you get a 1/16 scale and it's only got like a 180 or a 280, something like that small, and it's like 1/16 scale, that ain't that much. To me, 1/16 should be running like a 370 style motor, kind of like your 1/12 run. Because my Thunder Tiger Helix Toyota, it runs, I think it's a 380. It's what it runs. And it's considered 1/12 scale. And then I have my ECX Barrage Doomsday. It runs a 390. I know some of, what was it? Andromeda used to love to run like 360s and 370s in some of their vehicles. But is everybody ready for Christmas or just ready to get it over with? When I get off here tonight, I may have to go look over there and type in, SCX24 motor swaps just to see that, find that video about somebody slapping a 370 in it, just to see. Because like I said, I didn't know anybody had done that yet. I know you turned yours into a race, which I hadn't seen before, but you did that with yours. And I know other people, customized it and put a different body on it. Because they said the deadbolt version is really top heavy. I know a lot of people was going for the Jeep version that they came out with. You got the yellow and black one, and then you got the white with gray on the side of it. What is it, CNC edition? The little 24th. The new Jeep. I think a lot of people are going for that because you don't have that cage up high. It doesn't roll quite as bad as the deadbolt did. But then the deadbolt does give you the driver head, so it looks a little scale for that. I'm ready for the end of next week. I'll be off work until next year. I hear you. I may take an extra. I got it okayed where I could, I'm doing this little part-time type gig right now where basically I'm the boss. I'm working on commission. I work when I want to for right now. So I may I'm already off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I may take the day after. May not. I haven't decided yet. Depends on how between now and then goes. And how much money I can make doing this before Christmas Eve. So, but yeah, I'm kind of ready for New Year to get here. I'd like to see what's coming, from different RC companies and stuff like that in the new year. I mean, I know a lot of people brought out stuff already, but I know a lot of times right there at Christmas and right after Christmas, you go buy your kid all these new toys right there at Christmas, and next thing you know, or buy yourself all these new toys, and next thing you know, as soon as the new year, boom, they release 5, 6 new items, and you go, man, if I'd have just waited 2 weeks, I could have had that. So I'm waiting until the new year, see if my money comes up a little bit, and then maybe I can get me something, maybe a new toy of some kind or another, whether it be new fishing toys or whether it be new RC. But first I need to fix a few things on some of the ones that are broke, like that 6x6 back there. I would like to get it going again. Wow. 70 to 90 hours a week. Truck driver, right? You are a truck driver, right? Bull Gear RC videos. You are a truck driver, right? And you're on the road. And you go through all these different towns and all these different states. And when you're in different ones, you pop into different spots and do some RCing while you're there. Or am I thinking about somebody else and got you mixed up with somebody else? I'm trying to think of who it was. He was a channel kind of like yours, about the size of yours. And he's a truck driver. And he's on the road all the time. And he has like 2 or 3 crawler 2 or 3 crawler RCs that he keeps in the back of his rig, in the cab of it. And then as he goes through different states, he finds local spots while he's there and got some downtime. Finds local spots that he goes and crawls. And then he'll load back up his RCs, get into his cab thing, go to sleep, get up the next day, and then pull on out and head to his next location or whatever. I'm trying to think of who it was. I used to watch his videos a good bit. And then we just kind of lost touch. Yeah, it could be. Because I used to watch Rocket Dog a good bit. So it could have been him. Like I said, there's so many RCers. A lot of times it's hard to keep up with them all. That's why I said I'm not sure if I'm right about what you did for a living. That's why I said it that way. But now that's a job I wish I had tried out for back when I was younger. And before I got married, I definitely wish I would have tried to learn how to drive like an 18-wheeler or a truck that you can just go. You get in and you go to different states. You're delivering the product, for them. And then you got downtime in between dropping off a shipment and going to get the next one. Because that would have been awesome for checking out different places. That would have been perfect for somebody that does RC if they want to check out different places. Well, I'm going to go over here to Maryland. I'm going to be in Maryland for a few days, see what they got. Pull out of there, and I'm over here in Texas today, see what they got. And then I'm over here in Arkansas today, go out and run some RCs. That or being some kind of type, a sales rep that does a lot of traveling. Those would be cool gigs to do if you did the RC too, because you're always in different towns, different states. And that way you could be, checking out different areas to trail and going all over the place to trail. But yeah, I'm ready to get through Christmas, get it done, and then see what comes out at the first of the new year. See if anybody's got any RCs coming out. I'm close to Washington, D.C. right now, in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Cool. So you still do a lot of traveling with your job, just not, you don't drive a truck, but you still do traveling. So you get to check out all these different landscapes and all these different towns and all these different states, kind of what I'm talking about. I was in Greensboro last week. Cool. So you really get to find some nice cream of the crop spots to do RC videos. If you got some downtime while you in the town, you're like, let me go check it out. Like you said, you click on the maps, check out some local hiking areas, and sit out there and see what you can find. Now I went online after we talked last week, and I looked back over the one state park I went to where I found the gator, and they've got 2 or 3 more trails down there. One of them's supposed to be a biking trail, but if you go during the week and you go while most people are at work, I might could actually use that trail and do some RCing on it, especially during the colder season. The other 2 trails are more of your walking and jogging trails, but one of them says it can remind you of being in the mountains, even though you're not. I would really like to give that one a look and see what it looks like. The that one, and then I found another state park that's only, I want to say 45 minutes away from where I live. So, and that one looks like it's really got a nice set of paths to walk, a nice set of trails to go on. I'm hoping it's got a little bit more rocky terrain. So if I shoot to it and done drove 45 minutes, hopefully I find something, worth the trip. Now, that other one that I'm going to go to, it's only about 35 minutes away. And like I said, it says it'll remind you of being in the mountains without actually being there. So I want to give that trail a try probably first, because that's only about 25 miles away, or 28. The other one is, I think, 32 or 35 miles away. But I'm hoping they've got a lot of rocks to make that 35-mile run worth it. I've been having trainees with me for the last few weeks. Kind of cramps my styles for doing run videos. Yeah. When I used to be a delivery driver at a pizza place, I was a delivery manager as well, and they always had me training all the new drivers. And it kind of cramped my style, because I'm used to listening to, I get it kind of like tunnel vision when I get in the car. I'm ready to go. I got my mindset on what I'm doing. I put my radio where I want it. I got my pizza bag sitting up front beside me or whatever, my delivery bag. So that way I know exactly where I'm going. If I got 2 or 3 deliveries, I put 1 in the front seat with me, 2 in the back seat, and I go. Well, when you get that delivery driver, well, man, he's sitting here, and a lot of times you can't put that pizza bag in his lap because it's too big. You end up having to put it in the seat. Then you're having to get the ticket out of the bag and hold the ticket while you're driving, looking for the address or whatever, for the house number or whatever. So, yeah, it would cramp my style a little bit when I was training. Whereas it'd be more relaxed when I just had the pizza bag stacked. And I could just sit there and stop at a red light, pull the ticket out, and go, okay, I'm almost there. And put the ticket back away. So, yeah, anytime you're training somebody, because they used to be like, hey, Marshall, we got another guy you need to train. He's coming in tomorrow. I'm like, oh. But it was what it was. I was a delivery manager at Pizza Hut. And it's just like, oh, God. They got more drivers coming in I got to train. That's why I hated when I'd see a guy quit. I'd be like, oh, man, so-and-so quit. It means I'm going to train somebody else. Unless it was during when I had like 2 days off straight, then they would have to train somebody. If they had somebody quit while I was off, I'd be done turning my phone off when I went home. I ain't going back. I didn't work my 5 days. I cut the phone off. So they would have to every now and then train somebody a little bit while I was off. But that rarely happened. They generally just put them inside and let them learn the ropes inside. And then when I came back, hey, Marshall, we got a driver started a couple of days ago. You need to take him with you for today. Let him learn the ropes on the road. I'm like, all right. But yeah. Now, how many times do you catch yourself? You're driving down the road and you're watching the road. There's no traffic on the road, though. And you glance left and right at the woods to see if there's anywhere you could pull off, find a little place you could park, and hit that spot you just saw as you passed it. Wait a minute, that looked like a trail back there. I'll be driving down the road going somewhere, and I'll be like, wonder where that leads. Wonder where that goes to. Then you go back and you go to check it out, and as soon as you get on it, you see a posted sign, and you're like, well, can't go there. You got to turn around and leave. But I used to find good places to go trail like that. I used to find good places to go fish, because you take that little, what looked to just be an old dirt road trail or whatever back in the woods, and it ends up leading you to a pond that you didn't know about. So, yeah, I used to drive down the road and just, if there was no bunch of traffic or anything, I'd be kind of glancing at my peripherals left and right while I'm looking ahead too. But oh man, there was a trail back there. I'm gonna pull over right here and turn around and go back real quick, see where that goes. If I see something and it don't say posted on it, a lot of times I'll check it out just to see if I can find something. But I'm hoping those 2 state parks I was talking about, like I said, one's 28.3 miles away, I think it is, and the other one's like 33.4, or either it was 34.3, something like that. So between 28 to 30 miles to 35 miles, somewhere along in there for these 2 state parks. One of them I've already been to, and the one trail I went down, that's the one I ran into the alligator. But it has kind of like a swamp at the very back of the trail, so that could be the reason for the gator back in there. The one I'm going to try to go to next is either going to be the bike trail and hope that nobody's there when I go, and hope it's got a little bit more roughness to it, or the one they said that'll remind you of being in the mountains without actually being in the mountains. I may try that one before I try the bike trail. And then if none of those pan out, neither one of those pan out, then in the weeks to come, the gator made for good video. Yeah. And man, he was a big one, considering my first time running up on a live gator other than at a zoo. I mean, and we hadn't even been living here that long. And I was like, me and my girlfriend was making jokes about it about a month before, going, yeah, you're going to go shoot a video and you're just going to run up on a gator. That's going to be something to freak you out. And then I back over that tree and have the RC come over with me, and then I turn around and there, boom, there it is at the edge of the bank right there near that swamp area. Yeah, wasn't what I expected to see. Part of me wanted to run the RC a little bit closer to see if he would, make a move towards it. But part of me was like, no, I'm not going to aggravate him. That's what, then make him mad and then make him do something. No, I was close enough that I was like, okay, he's there. He's on the edge of the bank, sunning himself, and then he's going to go back over into the swamp probably later. I'm just going to turn around while he's not bothering me. I'm not bothering him. I'm going to turn around and leave and let him have this spot. I had got enough RC video as it was trailing that day, so I was like, okay, we can go now. Like I said, next video I shoot, I'm in hopes to do a different spot than what I'd been doing. He probably just wanted his head scratched. Yeah. Oh. Well, let me give you his address, and you can drive down here and go scratch his head real quick and see if that's truly what he wanted. I don't really want to find that one out. I'm left-handed, and my luck, that would be the hand he would go for. I'd reach down to scratch him on his head. He'd bite the left arm off, and then I'd have to try to learn to use the right hand, the right arm to do everything that I do with the left. Nah, I'm not going to anger him. That's like how the old saying, what is it? Don't poke the bear. You wouldn't want to make him angry. Well, I'm not going to poke the gator because I definitely don't want to make him angry. I'm not going to try to pin his head or scratch it either. But yeah, he looked like he was just chilled. He opened his eyes and looked at me and then closed them right back like, yeah, whatever. You're not close enough to be aggravating me, so whatever. And he just laid there. So I was like, okay, he's cool. I'm cool. I'm going to get a little bit of footage with the camera. So I zoomed it in a little bit closer. Watched him lay there. And then I'm like, okay, time for me to go. And turned around and went back the other way and went back to filming. Now, needless to say, I walked backwards for a little while, making sure he wasn't coming anywhere near me as I was leaving. But once I was sure he wasn't coming, I turned around and then just went back to RC and ignored him. You know, I probably got about 20, 25 feet away from him, and then I didn't look back anymore. I thought, well, he ain't coming. But yeah, not exactly what I expected to see. But yeah, it did make for an interesting sight on a video. Now, what would have really been wicked if when I come over that tree with that RC, that tree limb that was laying across there, that log, like when I come over it, if he'd have been laying on that other side, and that could have been really interesting. Probably would have made for even a better video, because my luck, I'd have come over that, he'd have been laying there and chomp on the RC. And there wouldn't have been no trying to get it back. If he'd have bit on the RC, I'd have been going the other way. You can have it. Sorry to trouble you. See you later. You know, because that RC ain't worth my life. It ain't worth that. So yeah, if he attacked the RC, he could have just had it. That would have been a toy for him. He would have had him a little chew toy. Yeah, it would have been kind of cool. You go climb over part of a tree limb or branch, and you don't know what's on the other side, and you send the RC over, and there lays a gator, and right as you come over, you see this big head come up and go back down, and then you see your RC up in the air, and his mouth, and he's sitting there. Here goes the wheel this way, here goes the... And you're getting it on camera or video as you're running away. Well, guys, I say we lost an RC today. Y'all be safe in your RC videos. Peace. Yeah, it would have made for a more interesting video if he would have attacked it. And it definitely would have been more cool. But yeah, that's the state park I want to get back to. Not that trail this time, because I've already been on that trail once. I know what's there on that trail, what kind of terrain it is. So I want to check out one of the other trails they've got. Like I said, I'm going to check out the one that they say makes you feel like you're in the mountains without actually being there. I want to check that one out and see what it's like. And then I would like to check out the biking trail. Laughing out loud. Lipo fire would have made him let go. Yeah. And that time I had my Hummer with me. The Hummer. And it has the lipo. So yeah. When the lipo exploded, yeah, or caught on fire, yeah. He'd have definitely let go and he'd have definitely been angry. Of course, when it caught fire, he'd have probably went straight back into the swamp area. Went back in the water. Probably, I said. Now, if I'd have been running one of my trucks that run the nickel metals, if I'd have been running one of the old NIM packs, like I do in my CC01s, if I'd have been running one of them, it wouldn't have been no big deal. It wouldn't have been no lipo fire. He'd have just kept chewing for quite a while. But yeah, I'm gonna get back down there and leave that trail alone this time, just because I know what the terrain's like. I went all the way from the beginning of the trail back to the back where it dead ends. I saw all the terrain pretty much in that area that it had to offer that I could see. And unless I want to spread out, I went like this and went around to the back. Now I could go in and veer off the trail over to the left or over to the right in the first part of it and see if that takes me into some better terrain. Otherwise, that trail's not really that great to me. Other than maybe running back there and seeing another gator. But the other one, the bike trail, that might have a little bit more of an obstacle to it because a bike, mountain bike trail. but I want to try the one that compares it to being in the mountains. I want to see what kind of look that one's got. And then if I do a video on it and the terrain's not that good, then the next time up there, I may go to the bike one, or I may try that other state park I was talking about. But I'm trying, like I said, I'm trying to find me a couple new places. Now I've got a place over in the woods where I've been going, but I went back further in the woods and found this big gully. It looks like an old creek that had dried up. And I'm thinking about going back and investigating that and taking one of my trail trucks down through it. The only thing is, right now, there's still a bunch of leaves on the ground, so that's going to mess with the scale look of it. That's why I'm hoping one of these state parks will have a trail that doesn't have a bunch of leaves on the ground, like over here in the woods, so I can get a little bit more scale looking trail run. Because most of my trail runs lately have been just, with a bunch of leaves in there and pine cones, pine straw, climbing over sticks, climbing over roots. Now my niece loved to go to death. It's like having another daughter. She's like, I call her my fourth kid. I have 2 girls and a boy. I call her my fourth because we've always been close ever since she was a baby. I used to rock her to sleep every night when she'd go to bed because me and my sister lived together for a while when she was little growing up. And so we're really, really close. And I took her out to a rifle range to shoot her first gun when she was getting ready to go into the Air Force. So we're really close. And for Christmas, she sent me and my family, me and my son and my girlfriend, who all live together, she sent us a big gift card. And what I did was I decided we just split it between the 3 of us. I just gave the card to my girlfriend and told her to go online on like Amazon or something and order something because she's got Prime. She gets free shipping a lot of time. I said, just split it between us. Order you some stuff. Order him something for Christmas. And I'll tell you what I want. Make sure I get a couple things I wanted for sure. So, PlayStation 4 game, Until Dawn. As you can see, still in the wrapper. Haven't started playing it yet. I'm trying... Don't know why. I'm trying to hold off until Christmas and then pop it open and get on it. But I may not be able to wait. Then, Friday the 13th, the video game. Slasher, Ultimate Slasher Edition. I picked up a Tandem Maxim trailer kit from Extra Speed. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. Okay. How many crawler truck style trucks do you have? Like trucks. Like, do you have a Dodge Ram? Do you have a Ford F-150, a Chevy pickup truck, Toyota pickup truck? Because I can't keep up with all the RCs that all the channels have. That's why I'm asking you. Do you have any pickup truck ones? The reason I'm asking, say if you got like a pickup truck one or a big style SUV one. Haul the trailer behind it. And do you have the like the Capra or the Bomber, the Axial Capra or the Axial Bomber? I got 7 or 8, I think. Well, take a pickup truck one if you got one. Put the tandem axle behind it, and then haul like a Axial Capra or say the Bomber, some kind of rock racer style rock buggy, haul that on back of it and haul it out to a spot where you got a bunch of rocks that you want to, a bunch of stuff you want to go up with, like a big hill to climb, like a hill climb or a big mud bog, and you want to put something like that through it. Or if you got something that's more like a mud bogging truck, put that on the trailer and haul it behind one of the other trail trucks, haul it out there, pull up, let it off, and then go do your mud bogging. Either that or you could do like some people do that have on-road cars. They'll haul them behind the pickup truck and get to where they're going to, do some drifting or whatever. Those are just some ideas. But yeah, I got both of these games for Christmas. And I mean, I'm sitting there going, yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy this one because you can either play as Jason and go around killing all the camp counselors before they escape, or you can play as the camp counselors and you got to go out and you got to find stuff that you need to escape. Like you got to find the car keys for the car. You got to go find gas to put in that car. You got to go find a battery to put in that car. Then you got to get in that car and you got to get away. I'm going to have to put it together and see if it will fit in my luggage. If it doesn't, I may do a giveaway with it. Yeah. Now, if you got it in your hometown, if you got it there, then you wouldn't be talking about fitting it in you wouldn't have to worry about fitting it in your luggage just to be able to use it. You could just use it here and there when you're at home. But if you're working 70 to 90 hours a week, I figure you're never really at home that much. So yeah, you need something that you can put in the luggage and basically haul with you. I thought about getting one of the, Extra Speed that you're talking about, or the, Endura brand. I thought about getting one of their little bitty trailers. You put the tires on the rims and then put the rims and all, put them on the little trailer. And it's just like a little aluminum trailer. I thought about getting something like that and hauling it behind a pickup truck or an SUV down the road, maybe a pickup truck, and put some extra gas cans or put like camping style equipment on that and have it coming behind, a pickup. Like say take my 1/12 scale Thunder Tiger, the Toyota Helix, have something like that little trailer behind it, like you're hauling, like you're pulling it and you're going camping or something, and have a couple sleeping bed rolls. I don't do RC at home. My wife says I'm on her time when I'm home. Yeah, well, you figure if you're gone for 70 to 90 hours a week or more out on the road, business-wise or something like that, and then you're RCing while you're out there, yeah, you walk through that door, buddy, I don't even want to know nothing about your RCs. You clocked out from that job, now you're on my job. It's all about her when you're home. Yeah, a lot of guys don't do RC with their women folk, and they don't do it when they're around them. And a lot of guys, they're doing something, whether it be on the computer watching a movie they want to watch or on a chat they want to do, and then the guy's out RCing. So to each their own on that one. But I can understand why, if it won't go in your luggage, you may just do a giveaway to get rid of it. But if it fits in your luggage and you can take it where you want to go, cool. So every other week you go home. Well, every other weekend. But yeah, if it'll go in your luggage and you can get it that way to be able to take it wherever you want to go with you. That's just a thought I had. You know, maybe you could load up one of your rigs on the back of it. You know, like say an Axial Capra or the Bomber or some other rock racer. Say if you have a Viterra twin hammers, you can load something like that up on the back of the trailer, haul it behind the pickup truck, and then get out to some big dirt hill that you want to try to take it up. You know, since it is considered rock racer, rock bouncer style. Or if you know you go into an area that's got a lot of sand or beachy looking terrain and you want to run a buggy on it, you can load that up on the back of the trailer and have the trail truck haul it to the area and then run it. I thought about getting me one of the little campers down the road to pull behind something. And then get a few like little scale items to have sitting out like a makeshift campsite. You know, and you have the video where you pull it out there and then you show everything set up. And then maybe another video of when the truck leaves the camper sitting there and you maybe goes and trails in the area or something for a little bit, and then you back up and you grab the camper and you pull on out of there. I don't know, but I like the other one too, where you just pull that little trailer with a few accessories on it. Like you're going to go out and do some camping. Maybe you put a couple sleeping rolls on there. Maybe put a propane tank on there. A couple other little things. And then haul that behind it. But yeah, I went on there, typed in, like I said, I went on there and typed in hiking trails near me. And the only thing it wanted to find was these state parks that are, you know, at least 28 or more miles away. And I'm like, so it looks like I'm going to be traveling at least to another town to be doing any kind of, you know, hoping to find anything back in the woods that might be better than what I've got out here across the street, basically where I live. But that one spot, I went back in the woods further than I'd ever went when I went over here the other day, just checking the area out. And I'm like, well, I haven't trailed this far back before. And so I kept walking, kept going further back, just walking back there. And found a gully area. And I'm going to try that in another video. All right, Bull Gear RC videos. Brother, I hope that trailer fits in your luggage so you can, you know, use it for something. And hope to catch you next time. I plan on doing one, like I said, every Tuesday, like I've been doing. And next Tuesday, well, you know, that would be like Christmas Eve. You know, I haven't decided. That's at least it's not Christmas Day. I wouldn't be doing one on Christmas Day, but I might pop on here for Christmas Eve. I haven't decided yet. Depends on how I feel between now and then. But anyway, Bull Gear RC videos. You have a good one. Till next time, peace. All right, Bull Gear's gone. Wishing I was fishing. Last thing he said was the gator made for a good video. He went silent listening to us. Plus, I know his phone has a lag. It says as of right now, we still have 3 people tuning in. But I know Bull Gear's leaving. Yep, wishing I was fishing 73 still here. I figured you were just listening to what we were talking about. But yeah, I'm really excited to jump into them. 2 Christmas gifts right there. I'm definitely excited to check those out. I've been trying to be patient. I'm trying to wait until actually Christmas Eve or Christmas Day and then jump on them. You know. Excuse me. So I've been messing around with some RCs, checking that six-wheeler out, seeing what might be wrong with it, trying to find a little more information about that. And I've been playing an online game that I found on Steam, this site called Steam. You create a profile on there on the computer, and then you go on there, and a lot of the games that are free, you can just download them to your computer, and you can get on there and play them for free. And so I downloaded me a couple of free games from there, and I've been getting online playing them at night. One of them's called Path of Exile. I play that some. And then the newest one is based on the HBO TV show called Game of Thrones. I downloaded that. It was free. And I've been playing on that one. And on that one, you're like the lord of the, kind of like a lord of a castle. You're like, like you're running things. And then as you progress, you get other commanders, basically like you. And you try to grow your strength and their strength. And then you try to make your castle better. And then you build stuff around your castle to make it better and give your people more supplies. Then you got to build your army and build it better. And you do all this type stuff. And then you join like an alliance. So you can go out and scout and attack other villages if you want to with your alliance. Or you can just go out and gather resources from places that are not occupied and bring them back to your place. So I've been playing on that a little bit. I just recently got started. But I had ordered, I love some of these sites though. Ordered some Christmas stuff for Christmas, and the stuff originally said December 23rd. Now stuff says December 31st and January 3rd. I'm like, oh well, they're behind. But people, I always tell people ahead of time, hey, look, I got you something coming for Christmas. It's coming on from online. It may or may not make it here by that date. Blah, 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 blah. And generally they're cool with it because they know, hey, I'm getting something. It's just running late in the mail. You know. One of the things I got my son, it's one of the things that's probably going to run late. And the thing I got my girlfriend, it's probably going to run late. But yeah. And I'm definitely ready for the new year to see what kind of stuff might be coming out. Now, wishing I was fishing 73 since I got you here. I've got these rubber bodies coming for fishing. And they're kind of like a fluke, but not. They're kind of like a lizard, but not. To me, they got a fatter head, like a tadpole type thing, but then they got kind of like legs, short little legs, like coming off of them, or little flippers coming off of them. Kind of like a salamander almost, and they look like they're about like this. And I've got, I think it's I want to say it's a 5-pack coming. I want to say. I could be wrong. But I'm going to get me some kind of either jig head to run through them if they are pretty small, or I'm going to do kind of like a Carolina rig or a Texas rig or whatever and use them. But I got them coming, and when they get here, I'll either be doing a video showing them when I get them, or either I'll be showing them on here when I do my live. Or I may do a video showing me open them, put that up, and then I may turn around and show them again when I do a live video. I don't know. But they're coming from, let's see, what is it? Wish.com. That's where they're coming from. The lures, these rubber body lures. And I'd never seen the way they're shaped. I'd never seen anything like them when I'm looking around at the like Walmart fishing section. I'd never seen any rubber bodies that look like these. I've seen, of course, the flukes. I've got some of those. I've seen the lizard, the straight up lizard one. And I've seen just a regular rubber worm. And I've seen this curly tail rubber worm, you know, and the one that's got kind of like the spiral, like noodle style rubber worm. But I'd never seen anything that looked kind of like a fat head on it, and then got like, see the flippers or feet, little short feet coming off of each side, and then has the little fat tail at the back. So I'm definitely interested in getting these, getting them open and seeing what they're going to be like. I want to put something, you know, on it that's going to, you know, hopefully help it. The first one I may rig up, you know, like a Carolina style rig or something like that, or a Texas rig. I may put something out there like that, or then again I may take another one of the bodies and try to, you know, just put a jig, hook it up to a jig head or something. I haven't decided how I'm going to rig them up yet. I want to get them and look at them first, see the exact size of them up close and personal before I decide exactly what I'm going to do with them when I get them. But I'm definitely going to have some gear to be testing out as far as lures and stuff. I'm definitely going to be having some stuff to test out between now and then definitely for spring next year. And I got them couple of updates that I was going to do to my kayak. I still got to get out there and do some of that. I just ain't, like I said, I've been video gaming. I've been doing that when I wasn't at work, you know. And since that other company went out of business, I picked up these little side gigs where, you know, I'm basically working on commission. They call me and say, hey, you want to go do this? And if I go take this order and deal with this person, boom, we get paid set amount. Do a couple of those. It's like working one day, you know. And if I do that 3 or 4 days in a row, you know, make a little bit of money, at least for right now, so that way there's some money coming in. And then if I can find something better, I may jump into it. If not, I may try to see if I can put in a few more hours at doing this and try to make a little bit better at it. Hadn't really decided right now. Like I said, it's right here at Christmas. I'm just trying to, you know, playing it relaxed and slow right now. Wait until see what the first of the year holds, you know, to see what way I want to go with it. For sure then. And I'm saying these things too, so if people pop in later in the video. Yes, this is called Tuesday RC Talk, but we don't just talk RC on here. When I do my talks, I talk about gaming. You know, if I played a game, somebody asks me a question about it, I'll say what I think about it. If somebody else gets on here that's been playing some games, they'll mention them to me, and I'll be like, oh man, that was good. I haven't tried it yet. Thanks for telling me about it. And then I'll go try it. And that's just like if somebody gets on here and tells me about fishing lures that they're using, that they're really wearing them out on. If I don't have one and I can afford it, I'll get it and give it a try. But I do want to try to find me some better spots than where I've been fishing. Because if you notice right now, there's a pattern. When I take that kayak out, everything's been from here up that little length, smaller brim, something that you'd have to catch 10 or more to have even a fish fry for yourself. Basically. And everything's been pretty small. Or either these little bitty ones. Not even the size of your palm. Some of these look more like bait fish. And that's what I've been catching most of over here where I've been fishing. So unless I can find another spot within this area, I may have to migrate to a different town to see if I can't find some bigger ones. But there's a couple more areas where I've been launching at that I haven't been up in that I want to try a little bit more. Like, say, for bass. I haven't tried any of this area for catfish since I've been here. None of the spots that I put on video that I've been fishing have I threw out for catfish. So that's something I do need to, give a try before I say, okay, there ain't no big fish. I threw out for bass over there off that pier that I was talking about. Hadn't had any luck yet, but a lot of times it's what you're throwing, how you're presenting it, and what time of day it is, because I've never had a lot of luck during the middle of the day, catching bass. Mine was either very early in the morning, right as it's coming up daylight, or right before dark. The bass would hit for me with what I was fishing with them for. And the catfish, with me, it's always been like an hour before dark to way up into the late night, And then right before daybreak, I would always have that big cat come and hit right before it gets daylight. It'd be like 5:36, 6 a.m. And that's when I'd get that big hit and the rod would bend way over. I'd be like, oh man, got a nice one. But here, I haven't done any catfishing. I've done some bass fishing with a few plugs, but haven't got anything yet. So I'm either going to move around in the areas I've actually been going to and try to fish in a little bit further different spot than where I was at, or throw in a different spot than where I've been throwing. I thought about taking the actual kayak up there to where that pier is I've been fishing off of. Take the kayak, launch it off that boat ramp they got, or set it down by the boat ramp. Take my pickup truck, move it right back up into the parking space, go down there, climb in the kayak, push off into the water, and then get out there in the water and throw back at that pier and around it. And I think there's a cove, like you walk down to the pier like this, and the pier goes to your left and goes to your right. But when you go to the right, it looks like throwing off to the right, back up in there, that it might go into another cove. I could always get in that kayak and paddle back that way a little bit and see if it truly is a cove. If it is, then I could go up in there and try some fishing. Now there is, if you go to your left, there's a bridge that goes across. And there's a spot right there where you could probably go up under there, drop anchor, and do like some crappie fishing under that bridge, or some bass fishing, or just do some fishing. But a lot of your bass boats come flying under that bridge. And I don't really like the idea of being up under there on that kayak with all them boats coming through there. And if they ain't paying attention, I'm getting, my kayak split in half by a boat coming up under there acting like a fool. Now, if they just come letting it coast basically under there, then yeah, I'd be okay. They could either move out of the way to avoid me, or I can move out of the way to avoid them. But I've been on that pier fishing before and seen some of them boats come under that bridge, and I'm like, really? You going that fast? You should be just coasting through there. But I will tell you, one of the state parks I looked up online, I like the idea of going to it and giving it a try because it allows you to bring your own personal boat. Only problem is I'd have to get me some of those a set of those trolley wheels just to set the thing up on, put all my tackle on it, roll it down to the water, take the wheels off and go do my fishing, whatever. Because you got to leave your vehicle over here in the parking lot, and then you got to walk to go launch it. So, and I am not trying to tote it all the way from my truck across the whole parking lot, all the way to wherever you're going to put it in at. But the thing I like about this state park that I found, they don't allow any boats with motors. None. You either got to be in a rowboat, a paddle boat, kayak, canoe. But this state park that I'm talking about, they don't allow any type of motors. It said no motors. So that makes it where that way you're not disturbing nature as much because you're just out there paddling. Plus, no leaking oil or gas, I figure, in the lake might be another reason they do it. And then the fact is, I ain't got to worry about getting run over by some big boat come flying up through there or some pontoon flying up through there and ain't paying attention to what they're doing because they're too busy drinking while they're out on the pontoon. Because you get a big 25, 30-foot pontoon coming at you and you on that little bitty kayak, you could be in trouble. So that's why I'm looking at this other state park that doesn't allow any kind of boats with motors. It's over 30 miles away. I said somewhere between 32 and 35 is the actual distance. But I could load the boat up in the back of my truck. Or if I took the seat off of it and took that crate off the top of it, I could flip it over, tie it down, and then haul it down to that state park and fish if I don't want to haul it in the truck. Finally caught you live, laughing out loud. Good to have you. Yeah, I know you said on the last video you couldn't catch me live. Point the kayak at the waves. Thanks for telling me. That's good to know. Massive Cloud says, what's up, everyone? Well, Massive Clouds, there's not that many of us here right now. We had Bull Gear RC videos here for a while, and then he said he had to get off here. He had something he said he was going to jump out of here. He'd catch me next time. Right now we have Wishing I Was Fishing 73, me, of course, and then you. Wishing I Was Fishing said, hey to you, Massive Clouds. What's the weather like where you're at? Stupid. That's the easiest way I can say it right now. We had 71 today. And remember now, this is like, December the 17th. We had 71 today. We had 74 yesterday. Tomorrow it's going to be 52. And then tomorrow night it's going to be 24 degrees. Go figure. Say cold here, dying to do some bass fishing. Yeah, I thought about going down to the local lake and grabbing a couple plugs, maybe a couple jigs, and just throw them out and see if I can get any hits on them. The one spot that I'm talking about, there's a pier, but it's a different pier than I've been going to, but this one, it's just a lot of that green algae. But then the other spot, there's not that much algae. I might go to that one and give it a try. And then I got another spot I want to try, but I need some live bait for it because you're doing a lot of creek fishing, and I think live bait works better in a creek, in my opinion. Picked up the Lew's Mach 2 spinning and bait caster combos. So you caught 5 bass today. The biggest was about 3 pounds. Nice. Hey, You catching them, that's all that counts. You know, me, I go out there and if I catch babies, if I'm catching fish, I'm still having fun. Yeah, I'd like to have bigger. Massive Cloud says really nice bass. I've got one lose spinning combo. I'll post the video Friday. Cool. I'll keep an eye out for it. Let's see. Give me just a second. I'm going to see what that lose is. I've got a lose bass for spinning combo. It is signed by Hank Parker. It's a Hank Parker Speed Stick Edition. It is lose. And it is the reel is, it's only 3 ball bearings, but still pretty cool. It's a IM6 Endurance. It's a 6-foot rod. I want to later time get me a 7-foot, but that's it. And as you can see, I throw with my left, reel with my right. That's the way I set mine up. But yeah, I'm 99% spinning rod. I've got the Lew's Hypersonic Spinning Combo and the Black Max bait casters a few weeks ago rather. Yeah, I'm not real big on the bait casters. I've got one, it's an antique out on the back porch. It belonged to my girlfriend's granddaddy. And when he passed away, her mom gave it to me. So I keep it more like it's sentimental. Yeah, I like this one. And there's what I've been throwing. That's the lure I've been throwing on it. The last time I went, that's the lure I was throwing on it mostly. I've got a couple other bass rods. They're out on the back porch right now. I got a roof over the back porch, so they don't really get too much weather on them. But that one stays in the house because that's the one I use the most. So I keep it in the house. And then I've got a couple of crappy brim rod and reels that stay in the house with it. But I've got a couple of catfishing rod and reels, but they're on the back porch because I haven't been really using them that much. And of course, I keep my tackle box in the house, of course. I've been using jigs and Senkos for the most part lately. I guess it all depends on where you're at, because I've seen guys go out. I've been throwing Zoom flukes and jigs. And what's weird is with them Zoom flukes, just the slightest bit of difference in color can, spell success or failure. When I used to go to the spillways and to the dams and fish for striper, you'd have guys come down there one time with a red jig head and a white body and just wear them out that day. And another guy would be over here with a green body or pink body, fluke body, with that same jig head, not get one hit. Then the next week, that guy that had the white bodies with the red jig head wouldn't be doing anything. But the pink one, the bubblegum color one, would be wearing them out. It's just weird. Jigs are great wintertime bait. I caught my personal best largemouth on liver. So you had threw out a chicken liver, or you threw out liver for catfishing, and you caught it over 8.5 pounds. That's a little bit different. Now I latched on something one time. Never caught a bass on liver. No, me neither. Never caught a bass on liver. Now, I have caught plenty of catfish on liver. Duh. That one I've done. But never a bass on liver. I thought I had a 20-pound catfish. Now, I have latched on to, I believe it was a carp. My girlfriend's granddaddy, they lived down at the lake at the time. He thought it was a carp too. When I told him about how much it fought and how long it fought. Oh man, that's a good fighting fish. Just, like a monster. And he told me, he said, man, I used to fight them things for 45 minutes just to get one up and get it to the bank. He said, they just massive out there. They live back in this cove. I was out fishing for catfish, been out there pretty much all night. Wasn't catching anything. I caught a striper on liver. I ain't never caught striper on liver. It's either been on shad, herring, and stuff like that. But I was out there. I threw out for catfish. I had a shad put on there, part of a shad on there. Chunked that thing way out there. Turned and started bass fishing because it was starting to get daylight. And I was bass fishing. And I hear something, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, what the? So I dropped the bass rod and I turned around. The cheer stuff fell over in the lake, which was my rod holder. And my rod and reel's flying out across the lake. Lands about middle ways in this cove. You put it in a buddy's pond for brood stock. Catfish general and gar is mainly what I catch on liver. So my rod and reel goes out, halfway out into this cove, lands in the water. And I'm sitting there going, what the? Then he took me. So I reel in the bass plug, put that rod down, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get my rod and reel back. There's a boat behind me up on the bank, but I know it's got a hole in it. So that ain't doing me no good. And it's way out there, and I knew I couldn't swim to it. But I could see. Luckily, my rod was hollow at the back end, at the butt end, and it was doing this. Just sitting there doing this, just bobbing like that. And I'm going, man, I can still see it. And this fish has just got it. And he's just playing around in the cove with my rod and reel. And it's just bobbing up and down like this in the water. So I run up to my girlfriend's granddad's place. I run up there and I tell them what happened. And I'm asking, what can I do? And they're like, oh, you can consider that gone. But man, I can't lose this rod and reel. It was my favorite one. At the time, it was my favorite. It was a 7-foot rod that I used for catfishing. And it had a big old Shimano reel on it. I'm like, I don't want to lose my rig. And I like, well, maybe go to next door neighbors and see if one of them will take you out there and try to get it. So I went and knocked on the next door neighbor's house, knocked on his back door. And he goes, well, I'm busy right at this moment. Knock on the next door neighbors beside me and see if he's busy. See if he'll take you out. He had like a 14-foot John boat. He goes, yeah, man, give me a second to get my shoes on. He comes running out there, pushes the boat in the water, fires it up. We head out there. And the rod and reel is still out there. This thing's still in the cove. Because like I said, we're back up in the cove. And this thing's just been like a shark just circling the cove. And the rod and reel's just... So we pull... As we get up to it, the rod's just sticking up out of the water just by the butt end. Right below the reel. That's all that you can see. About this much. The rest of it's underwater. And it's done quit bobbing. It's just sitting there, floating. And the guy's like, okay, get your rod and reel back. I reach into the water, grab the rod, wrap my hands around the reel, pull up like this. Well, with my right arm, I pull up like this at the time, or my left. I forgot which side I had that reel handle on. But I pull up with it, and I shake it. It was a spin caster. I shook it, and when I did like that to start reeling, he about turned the boat over. You got two guys. I'm about on 180 at the time. This other guy's probably a $150 weight at the most. And we're in a 14-foot John boat with a trolling motor and about a 7 or a 9 horse on the back of it. And this thing hit so hard when he pulled it, he was just resting. He pulled it, he almost flipped the boat over. No lie. He took us around like this, just pulling us. We got no motor going. We're just seeing what he's going to do. He pulls us around the cove while I'm reeling him and fighting him. I fought this fish for another half hour. Still on there. I'm fighting him. And he stopped. And the guy in the back of the boat goes, you got him. You wore him out. Bring him up. And I'm reeling up. And I'm reeling up. And I'm reeling up. And I get to where I can see a shadow of something like it's coming up. Something big. And right as I do that, he lunges. And when he did, snapped my line. Never even got to see him to know for sure what he was. But when I told my girlfriend's granddaddy what had happened and how massive he must have been or how strong he was, he was like, man, I believe you got you one of them carp or one of them big old gar. He said, you either got a gar or you got a carp. He said, I would say it was a big old carp. Done pulled you around that lake. He said, because, man, I used to get out there and latch onto some monsters. They're like 45-pound carps down there. He said, and I'd have to fight them for 45, 55 minutes just to get them to the bank. So he said, either you had a massive carp or you had a massive cat. Because I had never seen anything like that in my life. So I pull it up and I'm sitting there with the broke line and I'm going, water's still draining out of my reel. And my buddy, the guy tells me, he says, well, at least you got your rod and reel back. And I'm looking down at the water like, but I at least wanted to be able to see him. So I could at least know for sure what I had. You know, if I could at least, even though he broke the line, if I could at least seen him and made out what he was for sure and seen how big he was, I could at least say, hey, he was a monster cat or it was a monster carp. So he takes me back to the bank. I run and tell my girlfriend and their family what's done happened. And they like, so you ready to go home now, right? I go, I don't think so. I'm like, I'm about to go tie on the other half of that shad and chunk it back out there and see what I can get. I did. Reel, still dripping water out of it. Walked back down there, put me another hook on there, hooked the other half of that shad on it, dipped it in some chicken liver blood, ran back, chunked that thing out there with an ounce sinker. About a half hour later, I hooked onto a 12-pound cat and caught that, brought that in. I said, okay, now we can go. I got my rod and reel back and I turned around and landed a 12-pound cat. I could go then. It was okay to go home then. It helped make up somewhat for that massive fish that I lost by catching a 12-pound cat. I could go home then. And I mean, that's the thing I love so much about the spinning reel. You betcha. It was one of the wildest times I'd ever had on the water. Because to lose a rod and reel and sit there and watch it go across the lake, and then to turn around and have somebody take you out on a boat to get it, you get out there and you just go to pick your rod and reel up. So you're kind of off balance when you're reaching for it. You're not expecting some fish to about yank you into the water or flip the boat. And then to fight him for a long time, and then it seems like he just went dead. It was limp. Just like nothing was there. He's like, oh, you don't wore him out, you got him. And when you pull up on him, he's like, no, I still got some energy. I was just taking a breather. and he fights you some more and then breaks your line right as you're about to get him to the top. It was heartbreaking, but the fact that I was able to turn around and go back down there and fish some more and at least go out of there with a 12-pound cat. Now, if that would have been a closed face, when that thing went in the water, my day would have been done because they don't act right once they get wet. But because it was a spinning reel, shake it a little bit, chunk it back out there and keep going. Then when you get home, you can open it up, dry it out, rinse it out with some fresh water, put you some new grease in there. Oh, yeah. Speaking of fishing is like therapy, Massive Clouds. My girlfriend's got me a shirt. Yeah, it's like leaving the world. You go out fishing. You got a bunch of bills on your mind. You got a bunch of troubles on your mind. You get out there fishing and you forget all about that, at least while you're out there fishing. Now, once you come back home and walk through that front door or whatever, it makes boom right back at you. But for that time when you're on that lake, you in your own world. So my girlfriend bought me this shirt. My girlfriend got me a shirt that says, I fish to burn off the crazy. It's much more important than that. Well, to me, mine was for relaxation, for therapy when I used to do it. It was a hobby that I had always done as a teenager. And as I got older, when I was having a really bad day, I mean, just one of those, oh, you want to just quit everything and just leave town, I could grab a rod and reel, some bait, go out, hit the lake, catfish all night, and come home and be happy as a clam when I get back. I can go fishing and not get a bite, and I'm a happy camper. Yeah, you'd be like, well, it was relaxing because I was out on the water, had a good day. Wished I could have got some bites, but oh well, maybe next time. And like when I do my videos, when I'm out on my kayak or I'm out on a pier or something, I'll be like, well, we ain't catching no big ones, but we got some bites. We caught a few babies. Wish you went fishing with me when you lived here. Yeah, me too. I wished I had. Oh, yeah, it's peaceful. And then my hat, as you can see, my girlfriend got me this one. Kiss My Bass. She got me this the same time she got me the shirt that says I fish to burn off the crazy, which, you know, kind of sums it up. Get a little upset with life, definitely go do a fishing trip, and you're not upset with life right then, at least for a while. Western Kentucky, both of us, South Carolina. Yeah, we're both South Carolina boys. But yeah, now I've got another fishing hat. It's a little more rugged and worn out. The second part of this is starting to open up and everything. And it just says, shut up and fish. I lived in Virginia for a few years, did not like the mountains. I bet that would have made for some good crawling area for an RC, though. Up towards the Virginia mountains and stuff. I bet you could have found some good crawling terrain there, though. Oh, it was great for crawling. Because, see, that's most of what my RCs are. Crawler, trail truck, stuff like that. I would have had more of a blast somewhere like that for that. Yeah. You got a shirt that says "Fish tremble when they hear your name." Oh wow, definitely never seen that one. I'd never seen the "I fish to burn off the crazy." My girlfriend found me that one. Now I had seen hats that say "Kiss my bass" before, and then I've had the hat for years that says "Shut up and fish." Now I saw one I kind of want to get. I think I've seen a few of your fishing videos. Wishing I was fishing. Maybe catfishing one and crappie. Now I saw a shirt a few weeks ago on the site. It shows a rod, fishing rod, bent over like that, and it says, "I love it when they bend over." A little bit of subjectiveness to that comment, but. And then I saw another one where it had like a cork and a worm hanging from it, and it says, "I love it when they take my worm." So yeah, there's all different kinds of fishing shirts out there. It just depends on what you're wanting to wear. But I'd never seen one that says "Fish tremble when they hear my name." Need one that says "The Fish Whisperer." And the way you be wearing them out sometimes, I mean, it's just like doop, 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 doop. You know. I just got back into fishing a few months ago. Yeah, I got back into it when we moved. We've been here. Christmas Eve will be a year. I got back into it when we moved here. Where I lived at before, I was right beside Wishing I Was Fishing 73. I didn't go near enough. And I should have went with him some. But for one reason or another, I just never connected up with him and went. Majority of the time, it was because I was probably off somewhere RCing. Now how far are y'all apart now? Probably 3 hours or more. Probably 3 or 4 hours one way. So a little bit of distance between us now. Before, I could holler out my door at him. Yeah, that's a good drive. 3 or more hours away. Before, I could holler out my door at him. We lived on the same road. I fish every Friday. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. So every Friday you hit the water. Some kind of water, you're going to hit it. Yeah, I wished I'd got into it more when I was right beside you. Especially with some of the spots you showed me. You showed so many good spots there that I never even fished at. All I tried was the lake right by the house. Haven't missed a Friday in 4 years. Wow. Excuse me. I have one fishing buddy and 0 RC buddies. I understand that, ma'am. We moved here, and I have right now, since I'm living here now, I have 0 fishing buddies that I go fishing with, and I have 0 RC buddies as of right now. I'm trying to get some of either one between, lately. I went on a few RC communities and RC groups that are within 30 to 45 miles of here. And I'm trying to hook up with some other RCers and see if I can't find some trails, say, in between me and them that I can RC with. Had 2 RC friends, but they had red cat crawlers and had problem after problem and left the hobby. I'm shocked on that one. Which red cat crawlers did they have? I've got the Everest 10, and I hadn't had anything. I bought it as a roller. Well, I didn't even buy it. I traded. Oh, the Gen 8? Wow. I heard people had some trouble with the caster blocks, the steering knuckles on that one. And I heard some people had a little bit of, breaking dog bones and everything. I heard toughness wise that the Gen 7 was actually the Gen 7 Pro, which is now what, $249, the Gen 7 Pro. I heard it was actually a tougher truck than the Gen 8. Yeah, and the input shaft snapped every outing. Yeah, I heard a lot of trouble with that. That's the reason I was having bad thoughts about going with the Gen 8. I was thinking about trying out the Gen 7 Pro because I heard it was pretty stout. The worst thing I heard about the Gen 7 Pro was the steering. People told me you had to do that. I managed to win the TRX4 Bronco on RC After Dark's channel. Wow. TRX4 Bronco. Yeah. Well, I got the Axial Race. I traded for it. I couldn't afford a brand new race. I found a used one. Guy wanted to make a trade. I traded and got me an Axial Race. I love that rig. It is a beast. It's not the most scale trail truck, but it's a beast. But I've got a Red Cat Everest 10, just plain out crawler. And I traded for it as a roller. I had a Rock Racer buggy. And all the electronics were crap in it. They were gone. They wouldn't work. So I kept the battery from it because I had another RC that it would fit. And then I just traded my roller, my Rock Racer buggy roller, for his Red Cat Everest 10 roller. I went out and bought the same stock Red Cat Everest motor that came with it originally, put that into it. The servo was still there, so I bought me just a basic crawler ESC brush, put that in it. And then I had a radio and receiver out of another RC that I had scrapped years ago because it didn't work anymore. Yep. I agree totally with you, man. If you get a chance, look on my channel, and you got one that I put an Axial Dingo body on. I put an Axial Dingo body on one, added some characters to it, changed the shocks on it to put more like monster truck style shocks on it with all, shorter shocks on it to lower its center of gravity. And then I put 1.9s on it. And I turned it into a trail truck. And I beat the snot out of it on the trails. Plus, I crawled with it under this bridge on these big rocks where I used to live. And I've still got it. It's still going to this date. And I've had it about 5 years now. And it still works. What I did was I turned it into a Safari. I call it, it's a RC Safari Sam Adventures. I've got a driver, a passenger up front, and then in the back of it, I've got like my guy that carries a trank gun or a poacher type gun just to run people off. I drove it a foot underwater for about 20 minutes or so. Yeah. I ran mine through a creek and basically come all the way up to where the guys were sitting with the body. So it was completely, the motor and ESC and everything was completely under the water. and the radio cut out for a second. And as soon as it cut back in, I come up out of the water. And as soon as I come up out of the water, it chugged out for another second. And then it was just like it shook. It got all the water out a little bit and just drove right up the hill. And it was good after that. And I still got it. Like I said, I've had that thing for almost 5 years. One of the cheapest crawlers you could ever buy. And that Maxstone 10 has outdone some of them. Yeah, when I got mine, I caught it on sale, and I think I gave like $130 for it. 135, I think it was. And that was brand new. And they had a sale going on where they give you free shipping. I think it was. I ran mine completely stock. I ran it with the motor that came in it, the ESC that came in it, the radio and receiver. The only thing I changed on it was I ended up when I took it from being a mainly crawler rig to changing it over to making it be a little more trail and scale. So I changed the shocks on it, put shorter monster truck type shocks to drop it down and lower it some. And then I put 1.9s on it. And then I put that axial dingo body on there as well and turned it into a trailing and made it a safari rig. I had it done up. I took the back of the dingo, cut the back part of the cage off of it, took and glued wood planks on there and made me like a wooden bed like you'd have on a pickup truck. And then added some scale accessories to it, put lights on it and everything. And I went out and I did 4 safari videos with it. And I actually went to a hobby store and bought different kinds of animals that you would find in different states. And I would drive it down the trail. And then I had a camera up in the bed of it, Velcroed up in the bed of it. And I would cut and show you these animals that we were seeing out on the trail. And then I would continue showing you from another camera of it coming at the rocks or it coming at some roots and stuff to climb. Put an oxygen tube about 1 inch long inside the shop. Cool. But if you get a chance and you feel like it, you can look on my channel and I've got the Maxstone 10. I've got a selection just for it. It's on my channel. It's nothing but Bull Gear RC video popped back in. We were just talking about how the Maxstone 10 is one of the cheapest. Yeah, I watched all your Maxstone videos. Oh, so you saw the ones where I'm out doing safari videos with it after I had modded it. My niece, she lived in like Wyoming, Montana, up in that area. And she loved it because I did one and I used animals that were known to be in her area. Yeah, it was my third Hobby Gray RC was my Maxstone 10. That Exceed Maxstone 10, man. Like I said, I've still got it. It's in the closet right now. Runs just like it did when I bought it. Motor still runs good. ESC still works fine. Radio works good. All the lights work. But yeah, that's why I created on my channel. When you scroll down on my page where my videos are at, you'll see up here crawling. I sold the Maxstone 10 3 times. But yeah, you look down and you see crawling, bashing. You kept trading back for it. You missed it. You got lonely without it for a while. But yeah, you see trailing and crawling up here under. You see uploads. Then you see trailing and crawling. Then you'll see bashing. And you go down the list and you look right down here. You'll see RC Safari Sam Adventures. And that's all about that Max Stone 10 going out and looking at wildlife you would see in different places. Now, the guy that has it has taken great care of it for about a year. Cool. Yeah, that was like I said, my first one was an ECX Torment 2-wheel drive, brushed. That was my first hobby grade RC. The second one was a buggy they no longer sell. It was the Hobby People Sandstorm. A little 2-wheel drive little buggy. You still see him posting pics of it. Cool. And then that buggy it died on me. I bought it used. It died on me. And then I bought my third RC, which was the Max Stone 10 crawler. At that time, I didn't have any trail trucks. I actually traded an ECX Torment for it back the second time I traded it. I've got two. I got the ECX Torment 2-wheel drive. I've had it for over 5 years now. It needs a spur gear put on it. All I got to do is it's somewhere in my junk pile. I got to find the new spur gear and swap it out, and it's ready to roll. Now, I also have the ECX Torment 4-wheel drive. Larry H. RMX RC Play Park. Hey, Marshall, how's it going? Pretty good, my friend. Good to have you. How's life treating you? Ready for Christmas? Bull Gear RC video said, hey, Larry, in case you didn't spot it yet. Getting ready, been working too much. Now, I hadn't talked to you lately, Larry. Did you have any good scores? Any good scores during Black Friday? I did a talk the week of the Black Friday one. Wishing I was fishing 73 said hello, Larry. I did a live show the week of Black Friday, was telling everybody I was broke. I didn't get to do anything for Black Friday because I was broke during that Black Friday time this year. Need to get out in RC tomorrow. Yeah, I need to get back out and do another trail run. But I got to get out and I kind of got to find a spot and hope it's, good enough or either just go with what I can get from it. If I don't get to that state park that I've been talking about and get down there and try out one of their other trails, spot across the street that I trail out in the woods some, there's an area back in the very back of it that I just found that I'd never been to before. And I got this one spot where you go down this hill into like this creek. It looks like a dried up creek bed, or it could just be a big gully. I could take one of my rigs and go down in it. I'm thinking about going down in it and trying to do some kind of onboard camera footage and me just driving through it some. I haven't decided yet. So you've been hoping for some snow. All right, Larry, got a used Viterra Ascender 68 Ford to get dialed in. Oh, man, that's got to be awesome. I kind of wanted me one of them because I had my first pickup truck was a 1970 Ford You need to do an end of the year video soon. Yeah, I kind of wanted that Viterra Ascender 68 Ford because it's a 68 Ford F100. It's the same look of the cab that my 70 had, because I had the 70 Ford F100, and the cabs were basically identical. So that's what made me want the Viterra Ascender 68 Ford so bad, because it would be like having my pickup truck without the bed that I used to own years ago. First pickup truck I ever owned, 1970 Ford F100. And then ended up getting me a 78 Ford F-150. And then I got me a Jeep, I think it was an 84 or 86 Jeep Comanche pickup truck. They crawl pretty darn good, from what I've seen people say about them. The worst thing about the Viterras is if you run one that's got the tire on back, it tends to make them want to. You start up a hill, you got that spare tire at the back like any RC, wants to make it do this or make it roll to one side if you get on a little bit of a hill. But I've seen some of them. Hemi Storm, he took back when Viterra Ascender had the Ford Bronco. He took one stock out of the box, went and opened it at one of those competitions and ran it through the competition, and was able to do what all these more expensive trucks that had all this other stuff on them was able to do. Here he was doing it with a completely stock Viterra Ascender Ford Bronco. I'd like to get the Viterra with a spare tire tube bed. Yeah, you're talking about kind of like the Ford F100. It's the orange and cream body. Yeah, they do look awesome. And like I was talking about earlier, I had a 1970 Ford F100 as my first pickup truck. So it really makes me want one of those. But I also had thought about the Viterra Ascender. Yeah, you're talking about the Chevy. It's the C10. Yes, the yellow Chevy body. Yeah. I think with the right tires and rims and everything, they're awesome. They're not just good, they're awesome if you got the right setup. Got a couple of videos of it. The last one is a night crawling test. The Viterra Blazer looks awesome too. Yeah, the K5. I think it is. I always wanted the blue Bronco, but they killed them off pretty quick. But the Chevy Suburban, it doesn't look at scale, but that Chevy Suburban, I love that green and white body they did up for that Chevy Suburban, the newest Viterra Ascender. Yeah, it's one of the rigs I've never had. You haven't seen the Suburban? What they did was they went cheaper in one way and changed it up compared to the ones you're talking about. The yellow pickup truck you're talking about and the Ford pickup truck. Both of those come with aluminum front steering linkages, stuff like that. The Viterra Ascender, you can get it for like $279 for the Suburban. It's green with a white top. It has white rims. And the Suburban's long. Yeah, it's a longer one. It's a little bit longer than the pickup trucks. They went with plastic like linkages and plastic links up front, for the steering. But what they did was they changed the battery tray and gave it the battery tray that can hold normal sized batteries. Whereas the Ascender pickup trucks, remember, they have the shorty packs. They have that floating battery tray that kind of sits up right there at the front axle. But they use shorty packs on them. The two Ascender pickup trucks use the shorty packs, I think. But the new Suburban one, you can put an actual regular size LiPo in it. But you got to deal with plastic links and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't want to deal with plastic links because there's too much. They figure there's too much flex in them, But for $279 to get a Viterra, it's not horrible. But if you got a radio system for $279, you can get that same Viterra Ascender F100 for $279, and it just needs a radio. It comes with a receiver. You just got to get the right spectrum radio that you can pair up to it. Deadbolt was your second. Red Cat Gen 7 Sport was your first. Man, I've heard the Sport. I've heard it's pretty good. But I heard the Pro, if you can afford it, I heard the Pro was the way to go because of the aluminum shocks. And the better gears came in the Pro than what was in the Sport on the Red Cat Gen 7. But I heard both of them were good rigs, except for their steering needs a little bit of work. Yeah, I always wanted a deadbolt. That was the first axial I actually wanted. I never got the deadbolt, never got the honcho. Then I got lucky and was able to trade and get a Wraith. I've noticed that the TRX6 has a wide turning radius. That's most of your 6x6s. So you like your Gen 8. That's most of your 6x6s, though. I've got that HG P601, the Hingguan, which looks like the Mercedes. I've got that big 6x6, and the steering radius just sucks. I mean, sucks. And everybody said, oh, it's just your cheap servo that came on it when you bought it. I went and upgraded the servo to a little bit better servo, and it still was turning radius. But besides the turning radius, I've had that truck now for around 4 years. Never broken it. I've got one of my drive shafts that is twisted like this, but it's still connected here and here. It's got a twist in it where it overheated it and kind of twisted it around. And it still runs true. Still crawls and trails on anything I put it on. I've taken it through a creek all the way up to the headlights several times. And that old cheap, I think it runs, what is it, $150 on Banggood for that 6-wheel drive HG P601. The only thing bad about it, true, the only thing bad about the HG P601 is you get plastic chassis rails. So you get a little more flex and chassis twist. It's going to twist a little more than your good name brands were. The Gen 8 was a choice of mine, but went with the Charisma SCA 1E F-150 instead. I don't think I've ever seen the HG. I've got plenty. If you want, that's up to you. I got plenty of videos on it on my channel. It'll be listed under crawling or trailing, that type of stuff. I bought it from China, a place called like Banggood. It's Banggood or GearBest. They run about $150 on there. It's a 6-wheel drive truck. And the good thing about it is it comes with the radio, receiver, ESC, motor, servo, ready to go. Well, a lot of times you can add a little bit on to one of those sites, like $5 extra, and get the shipping sped up by another 10 days or something like that. It just depends. You'll have to look. Check out GearBest and check out Banggood and see who offers you the better shipping deal. Because I think both of them's got it for around 150 or 160. The only thing is the chassis rails are plastic on it. So you're going to get a little bit more torque twist than you would on a better name rig. What you can do is you can put you a few braces in between those chassis rigs. In between those chassis rails to take out some of that chassis twist or torque twist, as they call it. But I've had mine over 4 years, and I can't kill it or haven't killed it. And I love it because it's a 6-wheel drive truck. I changed servo because the servo was horrible. And I changed the shocks on it because the ones that came on it, they didn't build them right, and they leaked all the oil out, and they wasn't no good. So I just replaced it, put all new 6 shocks on it. I put a set of 6 shocks on there, and I put axial rip saws, 1.9s, all the way around it. And there's nothing I won't put that thing on and try to climb. It has been that good. But now you were talking about earlier, you wanted the TRX6. I would really like to have the axial 6x6 Unimog, the UMG 6. I wouldn't mind having it because I've seen some people put them head to head. And yeah, Traxxas is a little better. You got portals and stuff. But man, what they were doing with that Unimog, that UMG 6x6, wow. I've got a Pangolin that has got some serious torque lean. Any suggestion to help with that? Now, is it, Larry, is it more of just a crawler Pangolin, or is it supposed to be more like a trail truck? Which one was it from the factory? In other words, is it more like the Red Cat Everest 10, or like a Maxstone 10? Is it one of those just straight up crawlers, or is it more like a trail truck style rig? I'd like to get another set of RC 4-wheel drive Mudslinger XLs. I love them on the Maxstone 10. I'm running Super Swampers on some rigs, and I'm running some off-name Super Swampers on a couple of my other rigs. Crawler, yep, like the Maxstone. Now, Massive Clouds may tell you what he did to help fix some of the torque twist. What I found was putting preloads in certain. In other words, if when you take off, if it dips this way, you might want to preload this front side up a little bit more. So when you go front, it doesn't dip as much. And then you look at the back and see when you back up, does it dip down to the left or does it dip to the right? If it dips to the right when you go forward and when you go backwards, then you might want to just add a few more spacers here and try to bring up this side a little bit. Me, what I did is I put some in the, like say the right front to keep it from doing this going forward. And then when I would back up, it would dip over on the left side at the back. And I would just put a couple spacers in there and get it where it would just forward or backwards. You might get about that much out of it. That's what I recently did with the Red Cat Everest 10. Now, of course, by adding those preload spacers, it changes up your center of gravity just a little bit because it doesn't allow it to droop down on the springs and the weight of the truck pressed down as hard. It seems like it sets up just a little bit higher. But I could deal with that little bit extra. It didn't bring it up that much. It might have brought it up maybe that much by adding the spacers. But the amount of torque twist that it took out of it, I had it up on some rocks. I've got 2 videos of the Red Cat Everest 10 crawling up some rocks and then crawling on some rocks. And you can watch it as I turn and do this. It torque twists almost all the way over. Looks like it's about to fall over. It torque twists so bad. I did them spacers. Went back out for another video with it because I put shock spacers in it and modded all 4 tires. Took it back out there, and it was 100% better the second time around on the same rock pile. So you can give that a look. You turn the motor and gearbox around, and then put oxygen tube inside the shocks, inside the shock body on the rod. Added a few preload clips. Well, see, if you're just going to use it for crawling, Larry, if you're just going to use it for crawling, you ain't got to take all the torque twist out of it. To me, the only reason to try to kill all the torque twist on the Maxstone 10, the Pangolin, or the Everest 10 is if you're going to try to turn it more trail truck. Now, if you're going to actually be crawling up rocks and everything, you ain't got to get rid of all the torque twist. Just get rid of the majority of it. Massive Clouds is asking, do you have some binding, Larry, on yours? Does it bind up? Because Massive Cloud said he's had some binding issues caused torque twist too. Me, I checked mine out, and mine wasn't nothing binding up or anything. Everything looked good that way. Mine was torque twist simply because it needed spacers putting, some at the front and then some over here on the other rear. And I'd probably say I took out about 60 to 75% or more of the torque twist it had just by putting in, I think it was 2 or 3 shock spacers on the right front and then one less than what the front had on the left rear. And it barely leans when it's going forward and barely leans going back. It'll torque, but no binding to see. Now, another thing will help with a little bit of your torque twist, Larry. Have you tried moving your links out as far as they'll go down here on the chassis? I've also used a thicker grease in the diffs and axles that cause torque twist. Yeah, I put a little bit of marine grease in there, but that was just for safety and to keep out wetness from keeping it from rusting and stuff. Because it's not really trailing. I'm not really trailing it. I'm just doing crawling with it. I'm not really planning on running in any creeks with it much. But what I done is when it comes to you, you have a couple of different places where you can put your links. And I took them all the way out to the furthest. I took them out as far as they could go and dropped my center of gravity, which helped drop a little bit more of the torque twist because the truck's a little bit lower than what it is straight out the box. It dropped the center of gravity just a little bit. See, Larry? That's what I'm talking about right here, Larry. See? They were over right there. You can see the mark where they were originally there. They were over there. I brought them out here. And by changing that, it just sets. It makes it longer so it doesn't look as scale because you see how far back the wheels are back here. And you see at the front where the front is. It made it a little bit longer so it doesn't look as scale. But it dropped the center of gravity. It's lower than what it was. So I did that to make it sit lower. That way it doesn't torque twist as much. And I've got 2 two of the thick ones here, and a thick one and a middle-sized one back here on the back side. So the front here has two thick ones. The rear here has a thick one and a medium-sized one on this side. And then the other ones just have like one on each side, one thick one. Like that new body. Thanks, Larry. Yeah, and you see the angle of the drive shafts. It makes the drive shafts where they're almost perfectly straight angled. So you got that, just that little bit of crook in it. I like it because it did that. And then I modded the tires. See, I modded all four tires like that. I cut each two out. Every other section, I cut two out. Then come out here to the outer part and cut every other lug off the outer and inner. But yeah, that's it now. Oh yeah, but I love this body. I got it off Banggood for like something like $10 or less. And see, I'm still running the Hexfly receiver. I mean, the Hexfly servo that was on it when I got it. But yeah, I'm running two thick ones here, two thick spacers here, two big spacers. You know, the ones that are about like that. I'm running two of them on this, two of them up front over here. So both of these got the same spacers, front and left and right. On the back over here, on the two backs, one side on the back, I have one thick one. So in other words, the fronts have two big ones on both sides. The back one has a big one and a small one, or a big one and a medium on one side, and the other back just has one big one. And that gives it that little bit of different shock spacer, just enough to knock out 75 to 85% of the torque twist. Yeah, cutting the stock tires made a big difference. Oh yeah, my stock tires don't have the foams in them either. I'm not running foams. See? So when it hits something, but yeah, there's a lot you can do to make this thing better cheaply. I mean, I changed bodies because the guy I traded that roller with, he had massacred the Red Cat Everest 10, the body that was on it. All that was left was the cab of the pickup truck. He'd murdered it, and it wouldn't hardly stay on. You like to cut tires? Like I said, cut them two out, then skip these two, then cut them two out. I did that way all the way around. And then on the outside and inside, left one, cut one. Left one, cut one. Just like that. So that would give it more gap in between them tires. And it really helped this rig. I didn't like the Max Stone 10 body. No. It was not my favorite ideal body. Probably radio. I ordered a green deadbolt for it. Yeah, I saw 2 or 3 different people end up running the green deadbolt. I'm running a Red Cat prepainted Baja Bug on. Oh man, cool. I always wanted to get me an SCX10 chassis and put me a bug body on that, you know, and then do like a little small roof rack on it or something, and kind of make me a little crawler like Baja Buggy or Baja Bug out of an SCX10, but never did it. But yeah, it's weird how strong a cheap vehicle can be. You know, I mean, people bash and say bad things about these companies, and they don't realize. You look back at Red Cat's history, the one thing they generally had good things of. Red Cat had some of the best crawlers made. I'm not talking about the Gen 8. I'm talking about these cheaper ones. Your Everest 10. You do a little bit of at-home mods. Snip with some cutting things. Cut some lugs off. Cut down the foams, or take them completely out of the wheels like I have. And boom, you end up with something that can really crawl, will really impress you. And then it's up to you if you want to keep it just as a crawler and mess around with it, or if you want to turn it into more of a trail truck style thing and use it as that. I use a lot of Axial AX10 parts on the Maxstone 10. I never used any because at the time, like I said, I didn't have any Axial. I didn't have any of the Axial until I got my race. I'd never had an Axial product. But I love the Maxstone 10. I just wish it would have had a better body. The AX10 was a great crawler. Yep, that's what everybody said about it. Now, I loved the Red Cat Rock Slide. I loved the look. I loved the abilities it had. If you set it up right, they show you that you can lower it down some, so it's not as top heavy and just flips over every time it tries to climb a rock. You can bring it down a little bit lower, make it, be a little bit longer, but a little bit lower profile so it doesn't flip over as much. And then you have four-wheel steering, motor on the front axle, motor on the rear axle. I really like the Red Cat Rock Slide, but I like the Hummer body that it used to come with, the blue and black Hummer body, better than that weird-looking body that they put on it now. Been great chatting, but I got to take off. Glad I was able to catch you live. Man, it was awesome having you here, man. I really appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, the 55 Ford is sharp. The new Axial Ford body. Been great chatting, guys. Good luck with the torque twist on the one rig, Larry. Thanks, massive. Okay. Yeah. Give it a little bit more. Take them links, make it lower down just a little bit. It ain't gonna get you that much lower, but it'll get you a little bit lower. Try that, and then try maybe working on them body clips a little bit. What I do is just run it around in the house. I'd mess with the body clips on the shocks, run it forward a little bit, back it up a little bit, and check out and see how it's performing. And when you barely give it throttle, and then you go to give it a little bit more, see if it really dips. And if it slows it down, you know you're on the right track. And then get it to where you barely got any. And like, okay, I'll just leave it there. But yeah, that 55 Ford body is sharp. I love the way they did that. I mean, because it's kind of like they went UMG, kind of like the Unimog 10, the UMG 10, but with the 55 Ford at the front, licensed body at the front. And then they put those fenders on the side to make it look like it was a bed, and then somebody put a metal one inside of it. And they say you take those off the outer fenders and just have it more like a flatbed without the outer fenders. But see, it looks better in person than pictures. All right, which color one you like better? The all solid green one, or do you like the multicolored 55 better? And this one's straight for you, Bull Gear RC videos. Do you like the green one better, or do you like the multicolored body one better? I like the green one. The green one looks more like what you would have found for real on that Ford F-55. Thanks, Marshall. I'll check out all the stuff we talked about. No problem, Larry. Man, I hope you can stop by on Tuesdays. I do this, unless I'm sick or something comes up, I do this every Tuesday night. I generally start between 7 and 7:30. You like the green more as well. It looks more real. It looks like what you would have seen on a Ford truck in 1955. That multicolored tan brown, that combo didn't look like something you would have saw back in 1955. It just didn't look as real, I guess. Yeah, in my opinion. But yeah, I do like the 55 Ford. It looks good. Would love to have one. Excuse me. What's your thoughts, if any, on the what is it, Element RC, the Enduro Sendero, or the new Enduro, the what is it, the Trailbreaker that runs the 1.55s? You got the Trailbreaker, which is the blue truck that runs the 1.55s, and then you got the Element Enduro Sendero, which runs the 1.9 and has the gold wheels with the gray body, the two-piece body. I like the looks of the gray-bodied one better because it looks more scale, looks more real, the front end and everything, with that black grill on it. And I'm really interested to see. Nobody's done the gears yet. Don't like the Element. You have to upgrade everything on it. I heard a lot of people say good things about it. So is that bad? They said the 5-pole motor was really good. They said the servo was really strong for an RTR. And I like the fact that you could go ahead and add to that overdrive front end with the gears that come with it. What does it come at, like 5.7 or something like that? What it comes more overdrive in the front, and you can take it up to almost 12% with the gears that come with it. That's the reason I was interested in it. But now I did hear that the bodies were cheap. I heard that the bodies would just bust like nothing. I looked at it and bought the Cross RTR instead. Yeah, the SUV one you got. I think you got what, the blue one? Because there's a blue one and there's a gunmetal gray. I want to call it, or silver. I tell you one I looked at. It's the SUV one, kind of like what you looked at, but not the ready to run. Bull Gear has a nice crawler scaler. I looked at the kit version of the SUV. What is it? I think it was $269. Came with a roof rack, came with the wheels and tires, came with some of the stuff, but then you put all the electronics in it, except for the motor. It came with a 35-turn motor. Hold on a second. What was that? All right. Well, guys, it was nice chatting with everybody. My girlfriend was talking to me about something we got to take care of. So I'm going to get ready and go ahead and end this. Very nice unboxing on the cross. Bull Gear. All right, Bull Gear RC. Larry. And whoever the third person is, whether it be Wishing I Was Fishing 73 or if it's somebody else. Peace, everybody. Y'all have a great night. Chat later. We out. Oh, yeah. Have fun RCing. Have fun laughing, playing, and RCing, Marshall.